right. Good morning, good afternoon, Coin Observatory. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. I've been traveling quite a bit. I was in Virginia a couple weeks ago and Dallas before that. So we've been kind of spotty with the streams. Now that I'm back in Puerto Rico, I'm going to be doing a lot more streams, a lot more consistently. So back to our twice a week schedule. I'm live on Facebook and I'm live on YouTube. So you guys watching in the stream, if you have questions about the charts, as usual, just drop me a comment in whatever stream you're watching on, because we do have eyes on both streams. I'm just gonna go over our standard power hour. I'm gonna cover Bitcoin, cover Bitcoin dominance. Right, dominance is looking really interesting. When we chart it out on TradingView, we're seeing a rise in Bitcoin dominance, right? And it's currently finding support above 52%. Weekly chart looks really bullish in terms of Bitcoin dominance, right? And that's kind of why that's in the title of the stream, because we're seeing somewhat of a bull flag, this higher range on a weekly time frame, currently trading above that resistance. Which was, fit that resistance line, this trend line right above that 52% dominance. So we're seeing dominance rising. We're seeing it line up in somewhat of a breakout formation. And if you've been in crypto for a while, we do know that dominance shifts. BTC flows from altcoins into BTC and from BTC back into altcoins. That's just what drives market cycles. That's why we see alts go up together. That's why we see alts come down together. But what's interesting is that dominance double bottomed, almost triple bottomed, and it's currently finding support. So if we can see a rally in Bitcoin dominance, it's going to be a good thing for BTC. It might be a bad thing for altcoins, most altcoins, but that could trigger the next up move in BTC, right? So, to avoid any bullish bias, let's go ahead and look at the BTC chart. BTC in itself has actually failed to trade above previous resistance levels, right? So we see here support turn into resistance, support turn into resistance again, resistance remain resistance, resistance remain resistance. So we want to see BTC start trading above previous resistances and resistance turning into support before loading the bags, going super long on BTC, or even exiting all alts, because we are still seeing somewhat of a sustainable altcoin rally. And we're not talking 17,000% numbers, but we've had some pretty good performing alts. I'm gonna go over some of our January results. There's a link to this Google sheet in the actual video description, and I'm just gonna go ahead and move it over just a bit. So I recorded some pretty good long values from alts. We had Link up to 74%, Rep up to 104, Pivot 73, Doc 37, Holochain hot made us 150%, Yo-Yo 39, POA 26, right? So just going over some of the bigger gainers. Pay 84, GVT 30, and so forth. Now we didn't, we had a profit to loss ratio was I think 4.7, I believe, in terms of what was profitable and what was not. I've got a post on Facebook and Twitter about it, and I can share that if you guys want to look at some more metrics. Going to be best coin in the world. Thanks, MD. Not sure what your TCC coin is. Anyways, so we're seeing gains in alts, right? Trading alts has been profitable for the most part, and I expect to see continuation until BTC dominance gets back above these levels. So if you can crack that 58% dominance, we're going to see alts head downwards and BTC move on up. And that would be ideal. We're going to need some kind of catalyst, some kind of shift in powers to trigger the next market cycle. we do know that back's around the corner, and there's quite a few things happening in terms of fundamentals. Kraken launched Bitcoin futures last night or yesterday. I got an email about that. Haven't looked into how they're trading those, but most importantly, we're expecting Bakkt to bring in more bullish volumes just because their futures settled the next day. Big exposure, and there is no shorting, so it should add some decent long volume to the chart. What's going on, elite billionaires? All right, fam. So I've covered what I want on BTC. Once again, I want to see a trade above previous resistances, right? So we're looking at 3,500 is the first one, 36.95 to 37. We need the chart to start moving upwards. We do. Otherwise, some downside targets for the net shorts. I mean, we could dip down back to that 3,200. I posted some bearish targets in my notes yesterday. I'm not gonna share those. So if we were to head further down and crack that 31.89, next support's gonna be at 26.70. It could get really ugly. The one thing that's providing some hope is the fact that Bitcoin dominance is looking bullish. Right, we're seeing this unless it's an expanding top. Doesn't quite look like it. Volumes rising and trading above the VPVR high nodes. I'm gonna cover Ether. It was pretty bullish on ETH USD. Let's go over the Kraken chart, and then we saw ETH USD kind of come back down and want to retest some previous lows after having traded above resistance and found support there, right? Finding support at the 122 mark was fairly bullish for ETH. Currently it's trading below that 105 104 range. In terms of retracement, let's go ahead and do a fib retracement on ETH. See, we're at a 61.8 for a potential add. So we're below that 61.8 fib retracement, which I do not like, but we're still close under it. So I'd like to see it close above that 110 111 for another up move, or we're gonna have to wait for another double bottom. So looking for another $80 ETH. All right, you guys on YouTube, subscribers, you guys from Discord, go ahead and show me some altcoin requests so I can go over them. This is my link signal that I posted earlier today. We entered right here at the crack of the downtrend, currently up at target 2. I got target 3, target 4, target 5. Links on the rise again. You guys, nobody wants me to cover their altcoins. All right, KBC. All right, this is looking mighty bullish. Wait a minute. I almost take that back. This thing could be making a top. I'm just going and check various time frames. Then add an RSI. All right, so momentum is to the upside. One problem I'm seeing is this higher high on RSI on the chart with a lower high on RSI, right? So that is going to be a bearish divergence, right? And that's just off price and RSI. Market. I want to see this article once I'm done streaming. All right. So I'm seeing some bearish divergence on RSI. I'm going to go to a 4-hour time frame. And we're definitely seeing more of that divergence. All right, so you're seeing higher highs on the chart, lower highs on RSI, which could be the time to profit take this thing. I wouldn't want to add here, definitely not. And I see a rising wedge. It's not as narrow as it could be. But this looks like a potential hyperwave. So this is our break of the range. This is an interesting coin. Right? And it's definitely, and I believe, so if this is our phase 1, right? Oh, this is really interesting. Alright, if this isn't our phase 1 of our hyperwave and we entered phase 2, and now we're seeing another acceleration, phase 3, so technically, if you're going to trade this like a hyperwave, it shouldn't fall below this trend line, right? So if this thing breaks support, it's going to be in trouble. If it does not break support, it might accelerate into like a phase 4. And this is definitely interesting. So I'd remain long, right? Just because we're seeing the trend acceleration from a phase 1, 2, 3, and it's happening really fast. If it does break the phase 3 line, it's probably going to come back down and retest this previous range. In terms of a long-term chart, this looks really good. I would definitely look into an exit at the break of this trend line just because it is proceeding like a hyperwave or a profit take. Yeah, this looks really good. KBC ETH. Once again, we are seeing this, or I'm seeing this bearish divergence on these two highs, but I'd go over that just like on the BTC chart. That would be my input on KBC. All right, going over ZIL. Yeah, Elite, that's a good chart. That's a really good chart. Zilliqa. Alright, so ZIL on the daily, we did see bearish divs, right? Look at that. It's classic. Back to that KBC when I was talking about bear divs, right? I mean, this stuff is real. So bearish divergence, typically a third or fourth divergent high are a pretty good indication to sell. And ZIL did just that, right? Should have been stopped out of this trade. You had a secondary trade on there with a tight stop. The daily looks like it's pulling back. Obviously, you're seeing these big red candles. I'm going to draw a fib retracement, see what we can expect. It's currently below the 50% fib, so I would look for a bounce at the 61.8. This would be the healthy zone. Let's do an eclipse here. So somewhere down here, we should expect a bounce off ZIL. Oh. Whoop. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. 61.8. And we do know that profit taking will happen, right? Especially on some of these charts that have rallied quite a bit. So we want to see 61.8 bounce. If we do not, just stay away from anything in a downtrend, unless it's demonstrating reversal formations. This was a 68% swing. I think that's just what we did on ZIL. So that's my input on ZIL's daily chart. I'm gonna go to a 4-hour time frame. Seeing a bit of an RSI bullish div. Not the biggest fan of it just yet. There is, though, a double bottom on RSI. If it does start trading above that 526, you guys know I like to trade confirmations to the upside, right? So if we see this resistance zone turn into support, we could re-engage another long trade over here. All right, you guys, next coin. I'm gonna go over Link again. It's looking really good, especially the daily. Seeing support way above previous resistances, right? And that's a good thing. It just broke the current downtrend, so we long signaled it again. These might be really like brief targets. I might go through all these targets today at the rate it's moving, but it's looking bullish. I'm probably going to post longer term targets on this trade once it breaks out of this our current T1 through 4. Going over Nexo. All right, off the daily. A bit of a cup and handle here. I'm just going to go back in time and do some hindsight analysis. Let us know why we're up here. All right, so we got a cup, we got a handle. Let's see if fib levels comply with this breakout. Fib low, right? Kind of does. And once again, bearish RSI div. Alright, so it broke out, didn't quite get to T2 on the first try, it got there on the second try. There's a divergent high, pulled back, found support. Now it's pulling back, trying to retest, see if there is truly support here. Bitcoin volume on this chart is really low. It's at 3.2 BTC. There's somewhat of a falling wedge here. So I'm going to go back to a 4-hour. There's possibly a falling wedge. It's trading above it, is it? No, I wouldn't call that a wedge. Maybe down here it becomes one. It's a small intraday wedge. I don't know how significant it is, just going off the candle bodies. And just to not give up a whole lot of hopium, we're going to go off high to low. So 18%. So the target from this wedge would put it at 18% up move, which is going to be at that 1882 sats. I mean, a good confirmation of Nexo actually moving up is going to be a close above this previous resistance, right? So if we can get out of this current range trade, and a range is definitely 3 touches, right? Oh, wrong line. All right, so this is in a range. It broke below the range, pulled back up above. So it's got to close above this range, right? Which aligns with our fib level right here, which is the 1% Fibo. So a close above here would signal a continuation up to this 1872 target. As of now, let's create a fib extensions. I'm going to draw a fib retracement and see where we're at in terms of a pullback. I'm going to take this last swing low, go to the last swing high. And here's there's a head and shoulders here too that would have called for a turn. This chart's so easy to TA in hindsight. All right, so in terms of a pullback, it is right at the, where are we? Right above the 61.8. So it's still looking bullish. For now, it's still looking bullish. Is that are you satisfied, elite billionaire? Is that good enough? Awesome. All right, fam. Give me some more alts. There's thousands of altcoins out there. You've only gotten like 3 or 4 requests, so show me. I'd say KBC is closer to getting you a Lambo if it does maintain that phase 3 line, right? Then Nexo. Did we do ZRX? We did not do ZRX. Alright, so ZRX, lumens, they're closely related, right? What those charts do together, just to kind of add to this concept. I'm going to do lumens Bitcoin. Alright, so these tokens tend to have a correlation, right? It's not a real strong one, but at times lumens does lead ZRX moves to the upside and to the downside, right? Kind of try to get it to line up best, and here we can see this correlation. Dangerously enough, I'm going to cover lumens before covering ZRX, just because the charts are a little, I like to think they're very similar. And I'm going to go to lumens Bittrex. Alright, so looking at lumens on the daily, it's coming back down to retest this wick. Not sure what happened there with the market. This does not look good for lumens. This lumens sell-off started before BTC's last leg down, right? This move down, and once these big sharp candles happened, we saw sell-offs across the board. So it was kind of leading the decline, and it was definitely one of the strongest tokens throughout the bear market for upholding the high values. Now, in terms of a pullback, why is it coming back down to this level? It's kind of clearing the 61.8 if you go to this last high. So I'm going to go over, maybe over here where there's less volatility and there's 2 highs. So we're expecting, I'd like to load up on lumens, right? But I don't want to be the one buying the falling knife. I'd like to see some sideways action like this before longing it, where it retests several times. And going back to ZRX, I'm gonna go over Binance because I've been trading there a little longer. All right, So we know Lumens took out its previous support level, right? It came back down and retest this area. I would wait. I think the Lumens sell-off is kind of fueling the ZRX sell-off. They're kind of creating scare with one another, right? Moving averages are still to the downside. RSI is showing on the dailies there a bull div. There is a bull div. We just don't have a head turn yet. You got several lower lows, right? And we signaled it on lower lows and then got stopped out in profits on one of these bounces. I think it was here to there. One of these bounces, and we saw a failure swing, but no, the sell-off is continuing, and I think we're going to see trend acceleration of the downside, possibly hit that 46.71 before another turn. Oh, my pleasure, Christopher. And guys, Elite Billionaire Christopher, you guys don't mind smashing that like button. Dev on Facebook as well. So I think ZRX is definitely pacing down with Lumens. Gonna try to retest some yearly lows. This would be actually 2018's low, because it did knock out 2017's or 2019 low. All right, fam, give me some more alts. We got 30 minutes. So a couple of open signals that we've got going right now. Some syndicator hasn't made another big move up since the last long attempt, but then again, price and moving averages are to the upside. It's finding support. We're seeing somewhat of a turn on the shorter term MA. I'd like to see this one continue up. Awesome. I'll go over Ether Classic since I'm done here. Yeah, I was going to go over a few others. I'll just do that while I'm waiting for requests. Go over some tokens of interest. Ether Classic. Man. Got a request from Billy. Willie, you don't mind dropping those requests on the stream you're watching on? If you don't mind. So, Ether Classic, I haven't kept up with their dev since the Callisto fork. Or the fundamentals since the Callisto fork. And yeah, I mean, this chart's coming back down to retest some lows. I haven't seen very many like volume pings on it or anything that's made this chart of interest in recent history. I haven't had a signal on this in a long time. RSI still has room to come down. Stochastic's pointing down. ADX is flatlined, right? But it could get aggressive to the downside, right? So I'm gonna kind of demonstrate what being a trend or a directional index trader does. Alright, so when the directional index is low and it's rising, with the trend rising with the trend declining, right? We can anticipate a big move down. Alright, that's why I'm more of a momentum swing trader. Now, because the ADX is not a directional indicator, as in it can go up with the chart coming down, it could go up with the chart going up, and it could come down in either way, right? So we see the ADX peak off, and once the ADX peaks and it comes back down to make a trough, we see price turn, right? Here we're not seeing any of that, so I'm not seeing any indication of a move in either direction. Maybe just a continuation and strengthening of the downtrend. All right, looking over nav, ONT. I had some requests from Willie some 10 minutes ago. ADA, EOS, and Ripple. So ADA, he wants those BitMEX coins. All right, rounding top. Rounding top is not generally a good thing, unless it's one of these. But let's look. What's going on? I'm going back to the daily chart. No indicators, just in terms of fib retracement. Why are we seeing so many wicks here? Because it's the 50% fib level. I wouldn't expect the 50 to hold on ADA, not yet, especially with the way BTC is looking and Bitcoin dominance is looking. I think we can expect to move down to here. Moving averages are to the downside. They're not finding support above my long-term MA. Just to show you what a bullish moving averages would look like, we'd want to see a bounce off the short term, off the medium term. I don't think we're seeing that just yet, right? We're seeing both of them break under my longer term. So that's the daily. Going over into a 4-hour. What are you seeing in terms of wave analysis, Willie? You can post a chart in Discord. I'll pull it up on my screen. I'm seeing a descending triangle here. Right, so the 4-hour chart is showing us a descending triangle. All right, so this is pretty bearish looking. And if we were to do a target on this bearish triangle, oh, wrong start. So where's our next breakdown point? If I was to short this, my next target would be the 61.8 fib, right, of the uptrend, but the 1.6 on the downtrend, which is right at the 1,016 satoshis. Litecoin network just tweeted. No, it's the LTO network. Never mind. So yeah, I would expect a down move here on ADA. Yes. All right, so EOS is looking different. The daily chart looks interesting, right? Moving averages, momentum, a little bit of a bull flag here. What's ADX doing? ADX is completely flat. I don't like that. If it was up in like the 24 range, I'd say long it now. But it's not. So there's not going to be a strong trend here. Now, what else is going on in this chart? We saw somewhat of a bear flag setup actually break up, form a bull flag, fail to rally. It hasn't fully retraced. Now, I don't expect it to if it's going to go up. So it's only pulled back 38% retracement. As of now, this looks like a bull flag, a small one. Until you go in a 4-hour time frame. So what is going on here? Are we past the downtrend? We are past the downtrend, right? So if I was gonna long this, I would wait for a retest. Try to validate myself, right? So we're gonna want to see a retest, or an actual break on high volume. So if you get a break on high volume, we're seeing on the intraday, because this is a margin traded chart, we want to be a lot more accurate. We're just gonna go off candle bodies and not wicks. So this is the bull flag I was seeing on the daily chart. So if we can get a break above here, that would trigger a long, or a long off of here, and with a tight stop, of course. And if this thing was to break out, some short-term targets. Let's go to we'll go to this last swing low. Keep targets conservative with the way BTC is shaping up. So we'll leave, two ways to play this: either short it with one account down to here, long it with the other account up top. So if you wanted to play the hedge, we see a triangle formation, and because we don't have a clear direction of what's happening with the market cap, it's at a sideways stagnating yearly low. So we can pretty much assume there's going to be high volatility in either direction. So this can even be played as a hedge, right? Shorting the top of the triangle, longing the bottom of the triangle, to give us room for hiking a stop, right? Short stop would be at like 69, long stop would be at 68, long targets and then short targets. But what's interesting here is actually EOS is finding support above previous resistances. All right, Ripple. Hey, if I went over your coin and did a good job, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish on them, smash that like button. Get some more engagement into the chat. So, whoa, that's not the Ripple we're looking for. Here's Ripple. Alright, so XRP on the daily, price failed to stay above our long-term MA. One thing that happens when price does close above my long-term MA, right, we see strong rallies. Same thing with these other moving averages. We see a close here above for a rally, a pullback to and a close above for another rally, a close above, another rally, and then close below. We're seeing a sell-off. We're seeing moving averages to the downside. This could have been just a big bull trap. Liquidate all the shorts, trap some longs, liquidate all the longs. So market makers at work here. Market makers working fairly hard. Just gonna play around with fibs, see where we can expect a turn or two. Okay, perfect. This is why we saw this big green candle, because it bounced off the 50% fib. This is why it happened there. I'd expect another visit after these sell-off candles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me put this up on TradingView and add a TD sequential. And we're going to go off the Binance chart. Let's go off Bittrex. And TD sequential. So at a 9, 11, 12, 13 at the 50 fib for the bounce up. Are you guys still with me from my last, right? Last time I was talking about this, I said this is probably a TD9 and a 1 at the 50. So it's a 13 at the 50. Big move up, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd think we'd want to see another retest of the 50. It is trading in terms of nines. We had a 1 through 9 in the downtrend, right? We had another 1 through with a reset, 1 through 9 in the downtrend, 1 through, this is a 4. Let's go into shorter time frames. No 9 yet. At a 6, go to a 480. Oh, there's a green 9 on the 480. I wouldn't trade that just yet. The 360's got a 9 and a green 1. Alright, let me go back here. Not to complicate matters any further. So momentum isn't looking very good after these big sell-off candles. If we do see another big impulse green candle, big impulse move up, it would look much better for the bulls on Ripple. I'm currently not in Ripple, not long nor short. Fundamentals though are strong, right? This happens to be the top, or yeah, this support level, the 50% fibs, appears to be the top of this cup and handle formation for the breakout. So if it does retest this previous support zone and it remains support, we can expect another up move. All right, Willie, I covered your tokens. I'm going to go back to the YouTube requests. We got NAV, ONT, NEO, QKC, Waves. Awesome. So NAV coin. All right, NAV moving averages are to the downside on NAV BTC. This could, it's not a cup or a handle. So I definitely would wait for NAV to get back up and close above the current resistance. I don't like the way it's looking right now. There's definitely clear resistance over here, and it kind of gets sold off every time it gets close. We see rejection. Moving averages are to the downside. ADX is at 32 and headed down along with trend, so we want to see a trough happen or trend to pick up. RSI stochastic is showing a bullish divergence and another bullish divergence, so 3 sets of bullish devs. So NAV could be gearing up for an up move. We just don't have a confirmation of that. I think treating it like we treated Link earlier today and setting an alert at like 48.23 to confirm a big up move here would be the smarter thing to do than pick it up, unless it comes back down and we see some bullish volume at the previous low. Daily long-term trend, somewhat of a triangle. There's a Adam and Eve formation, a sharp V with a round bottom, another Adam and Eve, so 2 of them currently finding support above previous resistance. I'd keep an eye on that break of the resistance, really. Something to confirm an up move. If moving averages were looking a little better, if you're getting closes above that 45 on the daily, I'd be more inclined to call it a long. All right, going over ONT. Should have been stopped out. Support below the 61.8, right, way below. I can just eyeball this. At the 71, trend acceleration to the downside, no breaking of trend lines. So this is the last time it broke a trend line. Right, barely broke out, got rejected, failed to uphold. Now it's coming down. We're probably going to see another big fast move down on ONT, like down to the last low. And not this last low, but the last yearly low. Going over waves. So waves did this nice move up. I signaled it up here. We got stopped out. I thought we were going to get a big second wave up. What are we seeing now? Right, so the 4 hour. Let's start with a support trend line here. Daily. So he's had a strong bounce off the 50 fib of the last move up. And if you guys are asking why is my fib starting here, well, that's our swing low before this last move up, right? This is where this move technically started. So we're seeing a bounce off that 50% retracement. With the way these candles are looking, I would expect a retest of support, and price upholding support would be a good thing, right? If it does turn around and head back up, it would be a good idea to long there. Other than that, what am I seeing on waves? Broke the downtrend, moved up, right? Couldn't quite break this downtrend. So we want to look for some kind of triangle, some kind of formation that we can trade. I wouldn't quite call this a head and shoulders. It could be. Go to a 4 hour. Do we get a neckline? We do. With a really small shoulder here. So this would be a great test for waves, right? If this is our neckline for the head and shoulders, and there's a 19% move down. Why did I do that? 17% move down. Then we're gonna see a 17.8% move down, which is gonna put the chart at around the 61.8 fib, right? So, yep. And if it does break down and does find actual support at this trend line, that's going to demonstrate that waves is indeed still bullish, right? That this head and shoulders is not playing out. But if it does play out, then the next target down would be the 61.8. And it would be scenario B. So for now, I would say waves is headed down. And first stop is this trend line. Gonna make this more visible. Right, and then the second move down based on the head and shoulders target would be a 61.8 fib. And we could potentially see a turn over here. But as of now, I'm looking for a down move to these two levels. Going over QKC. Nice bump up today. Let's go to the daily. Still don't have a close above that 61.8. I want to see a range up here. I want to see this previous order block, right? I want to see this range play out. I want to see a close above it for a move up since we really can't short this token. I wouldn't touch it before it closes above that 899 mark on good volume for a bullish continuation. It's got to trade above that 61.8 before it goes any higher. Typically when tokens break the 61.8, I tend to back off of them. Moving averages are to the downside. ADX is pointing up at 19. RSI showing a failure swing. This one's interesting. Let's go over some, see if we broke resistance on a 4-hour time frame. Let's do our most immediate trend line. All right, coming back down and retesting it. What else do we have? I wouldn't call that a resistance. Go back to maybe a 720. That'll give us a better close on that really big wick. So our next resistance would be right around here. We see our 50% fib with the trend line complementing it. So possible long, right? If I was to long QKC based on this big impulse move up, what kind of stop am I looking at? A 9% stop, or maybe even a tighter stop, right? Back to that daily low of 4%, which would be an acceptable risk management trade. But I need better reason to do that. I want to see this retest, and I want to see this trend line act as support. Oh. All right, going over Neo. It's going to be the last altcoin I cover today. I'm going to go over Neo. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for all the requests. Kept Power Hour really engaging this whole time. Go to the daily. Give me some indicators. Alright, so Neo's closing below my long-term moving average. Short-term cross below the long-term. Medium's headed down as well. It's not looking really good. Last time I was asked about Neo, I said, hey, Neo's going to capitulate before it makes another up move. And it just has done that over and over and over, right? It looks like a rally and it fails back down, knocks out the previous low. I mean, look at 2017, right? We had a rally and then a big capitulation move down before an up move. And there's this rounding top formation. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's looking like a tight range trade as well, so one can treat it as so. If somebody really wanted to trade Neo, long support, sell resistance would be the way to trade this one. It looks like it's headed back down for support. Let me just throw on a fib retracement on here. Check for the 50 fib. If this was the first move up, right? We saw the big move up, 50% retracement come down, boom, knocks out. It's probably the 1.618 fib. I'm just going to go ahead and draw it just to demonstrate why I like fibs and that fibs actually do work. And it's like magic, right? Move up, 51% retracement. That's the fib target. Sells back off. So that was our up move, our initial one. So if we're still maintaining that up move, you know, we're finding support here. Once again, I'd want to see either a break above or a retest here. So a retest to support, one could long support with a tight stop at the fib level below for continued up. But I do think that NEO is going to head back down, retest some previous lows before another up move. In terms of the longer term trend, it is at the 51% retracement once again, so it could be looking bullish on this bigger move up. Oh, this is some FUD. Winklevoss Crypto Gemini GUSD stablecoin redemption. I gotta read this. Anyways, guys, I got two articles I'd like to read at some point. Thank you all for tuning into Power Hour. It was great. You guys had plenty of requests, a bunch of good coins, really good questions. You catch me on Discord for the rest of the day. And an update on our auto trader bot. It's actually trading. It's live. Our main dev will be back in town in 5 days. So I'm going to have some nice screenshots for you guys very soon. We should be live with it by February 15th is what I'm hoping for, where you guys can start plugging in your exchange accounts and our auto trader and start executing trades. I don't want to give away too much information to the public. You guys in VIP do know what I'm talking about. I've talked to you. I've posted about how it scales out of trades and trails of stops. So I really look forward to this release, right? And I look forward to you guys getting on board with it. Other than that, thank you. Thanks so much for being part of Coin Observatory. If you guys have questions, hit me up on Discord. If you're not a subscriber, there's some links below. You can see our performance over the last several months. You can see some of our reports on Medium, fxstreet.com, Block Delta. Yeah, look forward to getting to know you on our Discord. Guys, have a great day.